What's going on, my beat builders? It's a great day to be alive. How is your beats coming out? Are you cooking up something good? Are you still trying to get into music licensing libraries? Or if you got into one, have you got any placements? This time is for you. I want to make sure you doing good. I want to make sure we all just heading in the same direction, trying to accomplish the same goal of getting more sync placements. Now, I'm making this video. It's always the boring stuff that needs to be said. I know it's not flashy. I know it's not exciting, but I think the boring things in any industry, not just this industry, needs to be said more, because this kind of separates the people who get through it and find success and the people who don't. Because if you have a higher ability to handle the mundane and boring things, then you more than likely will stick with your goals and your success. In this case, sync licensing, because this is not a game for the weak at heart. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of time to get into a library, and then just to get a placement. So you're like doing two separate steps that both can take a crazy long time to establish. So I want to give out these 4 things that you need to know to help you succeed in your sync licensing journey, and understand if you change your mindset around these 4 things, you will have greater success and you'll be able to stand it for the long haul. The first thing you need is the ability to research. Now, this is not going to be like no go to school and type of research paper type of research. But I remember when I first started music licensing, I do it less and less now because I'm faster at it, and I'm in multiple libraries where I don't need to research it much. But when I first started and I wasn't in a library and didn't have any placements, research was key, right? Finding out what kind of music libraries exist, finding out music supervisors, editors that I can follow on social media. And research actually led me to finding my mentor. On the old platform, Google used to have a social media platform. They had different forums and stuff. So I was always in the forums of music making. And then for some odd reason, I got into this guy talking about sync licensing, and I was interested, just like you may be interested in sync licensing. So I just started following them, listening to his advice, same way like me and you doing, listening to the advice. And for some reason, after commenting on his videos, asking questions, thanking him for putting out this information, he reached out and we got to work together, and he really helped me establish how I go about moving in the sync licensing world, with how I get my tracks up to par with the standards that he was hearing, things like that. And it just really helped. And I wouldn't have gotten that position if I didn't reach out and did my own background things. I know sometimes it might seem like a lot of work to do these things, but it's very important that you build the networks and you do the research. And another thing along these lines of research, I was also on the forums that Google social media platform to find music libraries and important people that I could be like, okay, they're looking for this type of music. They'll put a post up that say, hey, we got an open call for submissions, submit your music. That's perfect. Now, at the time, my music wasn't all that great. I didn't understand the formatting, the sounds, the structures, the length, sting outs. I didn't understand having alternate versions. I didn't understand none of that. So I wasn't getting any traction, but it still was good practice for the research part. Now, that part is not the fun part, like I said, but it taught me now in my sync journey, I can get through it more easy, because I know that's something that has to be done, so I can understand, hey, let me look in this area and it maybe can get me close to an answer or a new opportunity that helps me get more sync placements. I'm doing the same thing now since I started DJ. Since I already got the background information on how to research, I already trained my mind that this is just something I have to do. Now I'm researching for DJ opportunities. Hey, what bars in my areas are looking for DJs, or what venues that I can go and maybe DJ in. Like I was at work and someone saying that because it's cold outside, these places that do indoor virtual golf are really busy. And I thought, that's an idea. Maybe they would want music inside while people playing golf. I don't know, but that's part of the research. So it's the same principle. I would do the same thing when I first started licensing, reaching out for an opportunity, and I may not get it. And it could be the same thing now, reaching out for DJing, I may not get it. But I understand that I have to research to keep that motion going in order to get to my goal. Number 2 thing you need to have in mind is finding a focus. Now, when I mean focus is really just a genre that you're going to start off with out the gate that you're going to focus all your attention to. Now, in my career now, I do basically 3 different types of genres. I do hip hop, I do pop, and I do suspense and drama tension music. But when I first started, I was all hip hop. And I suggest you pick a focus and get really good at that music. That way, when you're doing your research, you can have a targeted effort into finding what libraries will probably fit your music, and also shows that will fit your music. It goes with research. Let's say you watching Love and Hip Hop. At the end of the show, they have all the credits. You get down there, say music provided by. And there you go, an easy tip to find research. You're already watching the TV, and if you like the show, you probably like the music in it. You just wait for those credits, music provided by, then you go there and see if they're accepting new music or who's in charge. Maybe you can follow them on social media. Maybe they'll be talking at a conference or a school that you can go to and meet them in person. But that's all about having the focus and the research so you know where you need to go to attack your goal and achieve what you want to achieve with your music. Not saying you can't be successful jumping all over the place, doing different types of stuff, but it helps to have a focus. Do you want to focus on TV, commercials, trailer music, film scores? There's probably so many other things. Video game music. It's so many other niche things that you can focus on to help you, and finding the focus with research will help you get to your goal faster. The third thing that you need to have to be successful with sync licensing is knowing the basics and understanding how to read. Now, I pause because you might think, wait a minute, of course I know how to read. That's just a skill I use in anything. This is so key. So after you're done your research, you found your focus, you find the music library, and it says submit tracks, and they tell you how to do it. But they say, hey, no YouTube links. Guess what you do? You send a YouTube link. You see my point? You don't know how to read. Yes, you know how to read the sentence, but you're not comprehending what they're saying. That's the basics. If they say don't send YouTube links, find something else that you can send, or they might tell you what's appropriate to send your music. I use a service called Disco, where a lot of other music supervisors use this in program that it just can send links, and you can play the music right there in the link. You don't have to really download nothing if you don't want to, but there's other type of things that you can use. And there's also other things about reading. Let's say you get inside a music library and they tell you what kind of music they want, but then you don't follow the instructions. Again, you're not doing the basics. And doing the basics could potentially hurt your future. They might say, hey, this person is not following my instructions. I'm just going to stop playing around because I don't have time. And then now you're not getting placements because you don't understand that you didn't do the basics. You didn't read and comprehend. And the last thing you need is probably one of the most important of all, is having patience. You have to retrain your mind to think about, this is going to take a long time. Let's say if you've been trying to make beats for artists, sell your beats, and now you're thinking about sync licensing. Well, it's the same patience game that you need. Whether you're trying to sell for artists, you might not be making any money. You might not sell any beats. You might not get no views. You might not get no attention. And it just takes patience. And you might not ever get anything from it. That's just how the game of life goes. Some people succeed, some people don't. It is what it is. But if you in there for the long haul, at least you already training your brain to say, hey, I might not get a placement in my first year or two. That's fine. I might not get into a music library in the first year or two. That's fine also. There's many different opportunities coming up with different types of media and things that you don't even know exist yet until they come out and exist. So it just might not be your time. When I think about it sometimes, I try to look back on my sync career and say, how did I even get to this point? Because I was focused on making music for artists. And I never really worked with an artist. I didn't do anything. I just kept making beats. That's all I did. I really lacked the marketing side, the other boring things that didn't get me to my goal. So see right there, not doing the boring things. I never worked with an artist. I never sold a beat. I just got all this tons of old music that was meant for artists. Hey, it was good practice, but not doing the boring things didn't get me anywhere. Then when I started doing these things, I got into sync and I realized, even though at the time I didn't know that you had to have patience, I didn't know you had to research, I didn't know there was a focus. These were just things I did. It just came naturally. Now that I look back, I'm like, okay, this was my formula for success. So maybe you can find success with this formula or some kind of deviation. But the main thing is to know it's going to take some patience. So when you're making your music, you're being frustrated. I know I may say this in like every other video, but you need to have the patience. I cannot stress this enough, how long this stuff can take to get your placement. And you never know. You might take 3 years and then you get one placement and you might get 10K from that placement or whatever. You might get a big theme song. You just never know. Sometimes I'll be shocked that some of my old beats get placed and I'm like, I didn't even remember that song because it was so old. It sounds really outdated, but yet it's still getting picked up now. And I'll be like, wow. So I just keep on moving. And now since I'm in the rhythm of understanding how long things take, it doesn't bother me as much. But I can understand at your position, you want it to come because you want to start doing this. You want to start making money from your passion. Because when I got that first placement, I was like, yes. I was happy. I think for that first check, it was only like $100 that I made from sync licensing, but it was something. It was like, wow, someone actually that I didn't know liked my music, and it went all the way to the stage where it made it in a TV show. Like sometimes that's crazy. I just don't realize that when I talk to people and tell people I make music for TV, I just brush it off like it's nothing, but they look so amazed, right? It's because I've been doing it so long and the patience has been coming through that I understand it just takes a long time. So I don't even think about it and celebrate my wins. So I hope you found these 4 key things to focus on with your sync licensing journey. So that way you'll have at least a better time of coping with the understanding of how things actually work. I know you may want all the fancy tips. How do I make my beats better? How do I use what plugins to make it sound better? Better mixing, match. That stuff will come over time. And that stuff is just the flashy stuff, the cherry on top. But if you don't understand the boring things that everyone goes through and be able to get through that, you won't make it far in sync licensing. If you want more tips and tricks about sync licensing though, check out one of these videos.